Modern mending is all about taking worn-out clothing and making it look even better than when you bought it. Here are a few techniques for making your wardrobe work. This tutorial was sponsored by allfreesewing.com and is part 2 in my Modern Mending series. If you have a skirt or dress that's a bit too short, the first thing you should do is inspect the hem. You might get lucky and find a generous hem like on this skirt. If that's the case, unpick the original hem, then press and sew a new, smaller hem. If the original hem isn't generous enough, you can lengthen it by adding trim, such as lace or ribbon. I found this ruffle trim at Jo-Ann Fabric, and it will add both length and interest to this dress. Pin the trim to the interior of the dress, using the original stitches as a guide to keep your new hem straight. If your garment is tight at the hem and needs to stretch, like a miniskirt, use a zigzag stitch or serger. If it flares at the hem, you can use a straight stitch. Be careful not to stretch the fabric as you sew. A couple of extra inches is just what this dress needed. Next, we'll talk about a method for mending the holes in jeans that's more stylish than the iron-on denim patches your mother might have used. I bought these jeans for my daughter at Old Navy, and they came with cute contrast stitch detailing over frayed areas. I'm going to mimic that style on another pair of her jeans that she's worn out. First, you'll need to cut a small scrap of denim to reinforce the area. I'm using a piece from a pair of jeans that I turned into shorts. Insert your hand into the leg of the jeans and pin the denim scrap beneath the hole. I happen to have an automatic darning stitch on my sewing machine. If you don't, that's okay. You'll just sew with a straight stitch, then back stitch, then stitch forwards again to make a tall, tight zigzag pattern. Use a contrasting thread for interest. Be sure you're only sewing through one layer of the pants. You'll need to add at least one other stitched area, or the first will look out of place. Be careful that you don't sew pockets shut. If the back pockets are large enough to slide onto the arm of your sewing machine, you can add decorative stitching to a back pocket as well. Now it looks as though the darned hole is part of the style. If your child's shirt has a small rip or stain, don't throw it out. Try creating a reverse applique instead. I keep a clear blanket storage bag full of old t-shirts I can cut up to use while mending or refashioning. You'll need a garment that's made from the same type of material as the shirt you're mending. Use a water-soluble pen to trace or draw a shape over the damaged area of the shirt. I'm doing a heart, but a star, bird, or butterfly would be cute as well. Cut out the shape, being careful to cut through only one layer of fabric. Then, cut out a scrap of fabric from the spare shirt you're using. I like to use fabric adhesive spray for this next step because it keeps the knit fabrics from stretching as you sew. Turn the t-shirt inside out and slide a piece of scrap cardboard between the layers. Spray around the edge of the cutout shape. Then, press the fabric scrap on top of the cutout and immediately remove the cardboard. Allow the fabric to sit for a minute so the glue won't gum up your machine. Next, cut a scrap of thin interfacing and place it behind the scrap. This will stabilize the shape and keep it from warping. Pin or iron it in place. Then, turn right side out and sew around the shape. Be sure you're sewing through one layer only. You can do a zigzag stitch that overlaps both fabrics, or you could do a straight stitch with an 1/8 inch seam. If you do the straight stitch, the fabric cutout will curl slightly in the wash, giving the shape interesting textured layers. Trim off the excess fabric and interfacing. This modern mending tutorial was sponsored by allfreesewing.com. For hundreds more tutorials, please visit my website, madebymarzipan.com.